we sometimes get clients, don't we, who come to us and say, I'm a bit worried that I may not have paid enough through payroll or whatever. Am I going to get into trouble? And it's no, you're fine, because there's a system, a PAYE system at HMRC that will reconcile it, and you'll get a statement a month or 2 months or whatever after the end of the year.
Exactly. So you have your PAYE system right from HMRC. You have your tax return system from HMRC.
And do they talk?
They do occasionally, but it's one of those
If
where,
we wait for half an hour on the phone to ask them to.
yes. So if it's one of those where if you do need to file a tax return, you have to tell HMRC that you need to file a tax return, because if not, what will happen is you'll file your tax return showing what other income it is that you've got and what taxes are owing. But if you haven't communicated that you need to file a tax return, the PAYE system is going to reconcile your position. And what you may end up in is a situation where, from a PAYE perspective, you overpaid taxes. And so that reconciliation's happened and they've issued you with a refund. And then you filed a tax return saying, I've overpaid taxes, but you've still got that refund. And it's
And can you tell them that online?
that you need to file a tax return?
Yeah.
Not at the moment. I believe it's one of those where you can, if it's the first year you're doing it, you can fill in an SA1 form to say, I need to get set up and I need to file tax returns and this is why. But certainly from our perspective, we're not in a position to be able to just tick a box to say, yeah, we need to file a tax return.
What we've tried to do in the past as well, though, is to say this is an unsolicited tax return, please put it in the system. But it's never quite clear, is it, whether that works? We had a client last year, I remember, who had done self-assessment in the past, so was registered, as you say, because he couldn't do an SA1 route because he was already set up, had some trust income that he'd received, and we were in this bizarre situation of sending in a tax return where he owed HMRC 20,000 quid or something. And then HMRC sent him a reconciliation of his payroll saying they owed him 400 quid, and the two systems just hadn't talked to each other.
Yeah.
Which is pretty shocking, really, when you think about the fact that the whole point of having, I suppose, again, this is the thing, right? So you have your national insurance number, but then the tax return works off a different number.
Yeah.
And so because you don't need a UTR to be able to be on a payroll, they don't need to talk to each other. And you wouldn't have thought it would be beyond the wit of a government agency to say, why don't we give everyone a unique number for tax and then have the whole system work? But then again, we deal with the NHS, so why would we think the tax system is going to be any better?